Hello my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. So it is the first week of December, which means it's time for another OC video. If you aren't aware of this series, I'd watch the first episode of it, the episode about Haley, then Peach's video, which was last month's, because those provide a lot of context you might need. Also, please subscribe. I'm trying to reach 3,000 subscribers by my 1-year YouTube anniversary in mid-January, which definitely won't happen. I'm still struggling to hit 2,000, so please, let's get to 2,000 then. And on with the video. So this is Clyde. Clyde is a half Cyclops, and I'm gonna go through his original story now. So pretty much he was assigned female at birth, and no one really knows what happened, but this baby was found like just in the middle of nowhere with no one around, and eventually some person adopted him, but no one knew anything about his original parents or anything, so everyone just assumed he was a human. But then as he started growing up, things started getting a little weird. He was like super tall. His like build was much more masculine. Everyone's kind of a bit confused. And then he also caught the big trans. You know how it goes. But the mom's like, no, I have to be perfect. You must be perfect too. I don't know, something weird like that. I think originally she was supposed to be some sort of like rich person, or like not public figure, but like, I don't know, maybe her husband was in politics or something, so she goes to a bunch of fancy parties and has to show off her son, but you know, he can't be her son because then that's bad for the family or something. I don't know. Anyway, he was in a big time sad boy hours. Like, everything kind of sucked. Life was garbage. Then the story can go a few different directions here. I used to have one route where it was like Peach just like met him and was like, oh, Cyclops. And then there's like some versions where they meet on a rooftop, and we're not gonna go into why these characters were on a rooftop. But yeah, so at some point him and Peach meet, and then originally they both went to Main High. I didn't make it sound as sad as it was, but it was really kind of dark and sad and depressing originally. And so I wanted to pull that back a bit and make this story a bit less all doom and gloom. Also, can I just say, when I first made this character, I did not know a lot about being trans, first of all, and also did not know that I would turn out to be trans. And it's so clear that this character was just like kind of wish fulfillment. Like, I didn't even know it at the time, because I made this whole entire Cyclops lore, and it's like Cyclops, kind of like how dwarves are in like a lot of fantasy universes. Cyclops, the females also have a more like to humans masculine build. So, you know, this character just got to look masculine and pass because he's half Cyclops. So, yeah, clearly just me projecting all my wishes onto a character. But you know what? That's how Clyde is now. That's how Cyclopses are in this universe now. I would say too late to change it, but at this point, it's just, you know, I am changing these characters and I am changing their stories, but like, I still want their core essence to still be there, so I'm not gonna change this just so it's not a wish fulfillment character, you know? That's how it is, and sure, you might call it kinda cringy, but I just called a trans boy in denial, projecting himself, and look, we have this lovely character now. So, Clyde's personality originally wasn't exactly there. This is another point where it's like, wow, you really didn't realize this was just wish fulfillment. Younger me. But his personality was also just kind of mine. I think I've described it before, how there's like kind of sad personality, there's normal personality, and there's happy personality. Like, they all have sad traits, but that's the only kind of personality types I would use as a kid. And this was a normal personality. Well, sad personality at first, but normal after he met Peach. So I kind of just had to write him a personality now since there was no base really. So I just kind of thought how he would become based on his circumstances and all that. So I feel like he's a very, I guess two-faced might be the word. I don't know. Two very like distinct personalities. One is with people he trusts, one is with people he doesn't really. So when he's with people he trusts, he's like pretty chill, pretty calm. Not calm. He can be like really loud and passionate and like dramatic, I guess, but he is much more relaxed and open and himself. I guess this is just how most people are around people they trust, but this is to like an extreme degree, because with people he doesn't trust, he's like very formal and like tries to act like everything's perfect, like he's perfect, and he tries to give the impression that he's like the best person in the room, I guess, if that makes sense. Not in like an arrogant way, like he acts like he's the best. He acts in a way that tries to make you think that he's the best person in the room. That like he's more composed than everyone. He's got it together more than everyone. He's getting more done. He's smarter. He's more athletic. Like kind of just trying to act like a perfect specimen. But with people he trusts, he also can be like really protective and like almost parental. He's the dad friend of the group, definitely. Like, I can just see him telling dad jokes and then, like, getting really serious and protective when it's needed, and he's just a dad. He really is. Just imagine, like, your stereotypical dad, and that's him. He's, like, there over with the barbecue, flipping burgers, telling dad jokes. That's him. He doesn't really tend to talk about his own feelings and problems, which seems to be a common theme with a lot of my characters. They're all just repressing their feelings. But kind of along with that, like, dad role he also feels like he has to be strong. He feels like he has to be the strong one, the one that people can rely on. And he thinks if he has his own mental struggles going on, then he can't be there for other people as well. So he tends to just kind of act like that's not going on. And then we have his new backstory, and it's pretty much a similar thing. There's some more detail in certain areas, a bit less sad. So this single mom has no children. She's very connected with a lot of upper class people. She's in one of those like friend groups where they post about like donating to organizations just to look good. And so, a lot of her friends are getting like, they're starting to adopt babies. How some rich people are where they're like, oh, this is my baby from China. Look at me, I'm such a good person. Those kind of people. So her friends are going through an adopting children phase. Rich people, man. And so she's like, okay, I gotta find some, kid with some sort of problems to adopt so I can look like a good person. So she adopts Clyde because, oh, look at him, he has one eye. He probably has so many problems. Such a good person. Who would take him in? Except for me. I'm so generous, I know. She likes to show him off in public, but besides that, she's not really there for him that much. So Clyde was kind of raised by a lot of like nannies, maids, just anyone paid to look after him. But as he started growing up, once again, puberty was a wild ride because he started turning out super masculine. So his adopted mom starts getting like really worried. And so there was a lot of doctors coming in and out of their lives, trying to figure out what's going on with him. And then eventually, once again, Clyde figures out he's trans. This time he comes out to his mom, and it's like, it goes much better. She's like, okay, I'm personally okay with this. You do you, but you can't be like this in front of my friends or like people who know me or online. Now this case, he kind of gets to live his life sometimes, doesn't in other situations, but it's better. Then at some point he meets Peach. Peach is like, yeah, you're a Cyclops, my dude. He's like, Cyclopses aren't real. I know you're into all your paranormal stuff. Haha, very funny. And then he gets pretty much kidnapped by Main High because he's a Cyclops. You know how it goes. So after I had the backstory, his personality, everything was kind of good to go, I started on his new design. So I wanted it to be, his clothing to be kind of sporty as well, but also kind of like disastrous fashion sense. Because I imagine he doesn't know how to dress. Because like he's kind of forced to dress femininely a lot, and when he does dress masculinely, he's all on his own and never is raised to dress that way. So just kind of imagine he's chaotic and doesn't know what he's doing, but he loves it anyway and he's happy with it. We have like 2 different patterns going on, and he's wearing a lot of stripes. Also some, what is it, plaid? What's the difference between like plaid, flannel? There's some other one, but I don't know what the difference is between all these patterns, but I think this one's called plaid. So yeah, a lot of conflicting patterns. Also with his design, I made it much more yellow and blue this time. In his old design, there's like blue, yellow, and orange, and that was a bit too much for me because I like to typically choose one color and focus on just that color. But blue and yellow do go nice together, so I decided to just focus it on that. And I also kind of struggled figuring out how to draw just one eye in my style, because typically I don't draw eyes in the middle ever. It's either they look left or they look right, and if the eyes are looking forward, then they are like kind of cross-eyed. So I don't know how to draw just one eye, and so I pretty much just drew an eye without any eye whites. This is usually kind of the eye style I do when I'm doing more simplistic drawings. I'm not sure about how I feel about it, but we're leaving it for now. Then, like always, I do a little final drawing, I guess, to test out the design I just made. This video is no different, but I did struggle a lot coming up with an idea. I think I should have done something related to basketball because he does like basketball, if you couldn't tell by his original outfit. But I didn't think about that for some reason. And that would have been great because it would have shown, you know, an aspect of his personality, and also would have pushed me to draw dynamic poses. But instead, I just decided to take an element of his backstory from how he like always had to go to doctors as a kid to figure out what the heck was going on with him. So I wanted this to be a very dramatic scene with like in the foreground you can see like his mom's face and a doctor, and they're talking, and like they don't have eyes, and instead it's like the black gradient because drama. And then Clyde's in the background looking all nervous. That was my vision. How well I executed this, you're gonna see that. So first I started running into problems with like the sitting position. I kind of struggle with sitting a lot of the time because, I don't know, perspective and all that, but especially this with like sitting front face and the legs are in perfect view. I had to draw all those legs. Like usually I just cut out most of the legs and call it a day, but no, I had to draw the legs. So I ended up making the legs kind of like, I don't know, I tried to have them taper downward so they look smaller. I don't think the sitting position was great. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. It's kind of hard to tell where his waist is, so I don't know how in proportion everything is, and yeah, it's kind of messy. It's passable if you don't look at it for too long though, which is better than I can say about most things. Then with the shading, I tried to have like a lot of bright white light on top of things to show like the blinding white overhead lights of a doctor's office like they always have. But I don't think I did enough because it doesn't really pop out too much at the end. I also shade everything with black because I'm lazy. Though I did forget to shade the legs at all to show that like perspective, that like his legs are getting further back. And like I also didn't make them taper enough, so it's not that clear, but oh well. And honestly, the whole drawing wasn't looking really promising. This happens a lot when I have like this huge elaborate plan for like doing a lot of shading and, overlays and dramatic lighting and stuff. And then, like, I relied on those aspects so much to carry the drawing almost and, like, tie everything together. And then it always falls kind of short because they aren't as powerful as I imagine. So that's kind of what was happening here. Though this time I did try putting on, like, this purple overlay, and it definitely helped a lot. And then I tried to do just more extra shading, but it was okay. I think I need to push the lighting a lot more and be a lot more dramatic with everything. But the drawing's fine. Anyway, if you did like this video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Also, comment any questions you have about this universe or the characters. I'll try and answer them. Make sure to follow all my social media in the description below. I post once a week on both Twitter and Instagram, so follow them. And I will see you all next